My name is Angie McHorse, and I'm with Jorie Healthcare, Vice President of Corporate Strategies. I have the great fortune of helping us build our infrastructure and scale to a pretty respectable size over the last 4 years, and I don't think the trajectory is going to change anytime soon. So I stay very busy on various and sundry things across the company. So I've had the good fortune of working with you for 4 years. We've stood up a couple of really marquee clients together and learned a lot together, and come to work together elbow to elbow, take on whatever comes our way, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm Zach Gardner. I'm our EVP of Corporate Operations. I mostly oversee our technology and security teams, amongst other things. But what's great is we have really good people around us, like yourself, that help us, spread our tentacles, which I think that's something you've worked on a lot from an organizational standpoint with us. Am I talking all right?
No, you're good.
Kind of expanding and making sure we're not flat, right? Where we can have all these teams interact together, not in silos, which helps us onboard and better manage our customers, right?
And so what would you say are some of kind of the key themes that we have taken on as an operation to make sure we can scale to the degree we need to? What type of themes or value propositions are we putting out there?
Well, one, standardizing processes, right? So we go to our clients expecting them to have standards, and we can't forget that we also need to have them, whether that be through onboarding, the customer lifecycle management, from, customer success to RCM. And then what has helped us, I think, on the sense of obtaining new clients and retaining them is not only being able to articulate through performas what our ROI is potentially going to be, but then being able to report on that over and over again, monthly, quarterly, yearly. And we can't do that without an entire team as a company. You need data analytics, you need customer success, RCM, corporate support. And then you also need
our data science.
Yeah, data science. And apart from that, you need standards for them to rely on, which you've implemented from a standpoint of pricing, our decks from the standpoint of how do we want to tell the story? It can't be the same message every time, but like there's a structure and a way to that. And that's something I think, well, you're just like a natural at it, I feel like, on helping our teams get there.
Well, thank you. I think there's a couple of other themes that I think make us different. And from more on the technical side, I think our value proposition is also built around redundancy and built on our ability to really be agnostic and wrap our solutions and our systems around whatever clients have. So we're not asking anybody to change. We're just asking them to embrace us and let them help them take the organization to the next level.
Yeah.
So we can take on the burden of the automation side while they continue to do their day-to-day jobs, and we work together to really kind of blend the best of the best, what we can automate and what they need to keep in-house, and together that brings about the best solution. So I think the redundancy and the flexibility is the two things I think that keeping those themes part of our platform, if you will.
Well, and also just like having our people think about, you said it a couple times, solutions. Like, we're not looking here to create more work for anybody. We're here to solve a problem. And I think we're highly fixated on that. And we can't do that without good technology in the background, right? Like if we didn't have our RPA platform, half of the things we try and do probably wouldn't even get off the ground, with the IT teams on our client side not being able to support, from a time perspective and potentially capability perspective, what we need them to actually integrate. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but I think that's a big piece as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think then the third piece of that equation is our revenue cycle specialists. And we've got deep and wide revenue specialists that, regardless of what approach we use to automation, we've always got the expertise to come in and make sure that it's done effectively and with the ultimate end goal, which is increase collections, reduce denials, and make sure that when that patient shows up for their appointment, that their eligibility is in place, their authorization is in place, and all of that takes a lot of hand holding to make sure that that happens
Yeah.
because of all the nuances of the payer mixes that are involved, the different technology options that we have, the lack of information or amount of information that we sometimes have to work with. So yeah, I think that those three pieces working together make us unique. And if I was a client, I'd be looking for all pieces of that as part of the platform that I was going to buy.
And okay, not to keep adding on, but there is, I think, another piece where we may be forgetting our compliance teams or team.
Oh yeah,
right.
And there's that. High trust didn't come along without some work. Yeah.
That and coding compliance, billing, and to your point, like all of the back to standards, right? That helps us not only adhere to them, but monitor them and improve them and follow a framework that's respected. And if I'm not mistaken, that was one of our first projects we worked on, not high trust, but PCI.
PCI,
Yeah. Which was fascinating to do in a month.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Somehow we managed to get that done.
Yeah, we did.
And it served us well.
Yeah.
So, it led us directly to high trust.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely put us on our path there. That's for sure. I know you've spent a lot of time, with our clients, on kind of looking through some of their, stories. Do you have any snips you want to share on, here's some of the feedback we're getting or not, but just curious?
Well, I think that the process of settling in takes work on both sides, right? So getting there's a change management component to it that we need to be really aware of and help them prepare themselves for. That's the organizational change management side of it, which different clients keep us sometimes closer to that and sometimes further away. So to the degree we can influence it, it changes. But when we can come in that, helping them have their eyes wide open and us being a coach and advisor on how this organization is going to evolve over time puts us in a position to help with that change management side of it as well. So we love seeing the collections go up. We love seeing the denial rates go down. And then the best part of that is when, as an organization, they expect it, they rally around it, and their whole organization can be ready for maximizing whatever the value they get out of it.
Yeah.
And not be surprised, right? Because we're reporting all along the way, so there shouldn't be any surprises.
Yeah, real-time reporting is
right.
Almost as essential as actually doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've heard today a couple of people talking about their clients. So we have some third-party billers or systems here, and then they're interested in our ability to automate some of the things that they know other organizations are struggling with. So they may not come out and outright ask specifically, but the questions that they're asking are trying to figure out how we can do some of the things that we do while other organizations seems to be struggling with it. A couple of the categories of clients that have come up are the rural hospitals, a lot about the rural hospitals and how we can help them and the kind of value proposition that needs to be out there to help them just with the staffing and resource management side of things.
Yeah.
So we definitely have business cases that we can present and talk around that and how that would actually work. And that's one area we might want to explore some more dialogue with that category of organizations that are on the smaller side and in the situation where keeping their staffing strong and the level of expertise they need to make sure that the denials are getting worked correctly, AR is worked aggressively, denial rates are down, coding is correct, and all that is a struggle. So,
well, what's interesting, on the rural hospitals, they're the ones who probably need the most help,
right?
Because their margins are tight and they're being squeezed by the changes in Medicare, Medicaid reimbursement. And on top of that, they might be able to have staff, but retaining them is probably more important than anything, especially for the rules, because what population are they picking from, right?
Yeah.
So us being very cognizant of that, I think we've done a good job going into the last like 3 rural hospitals we implemented. I think that was a big focus of their leadership is, well, we're not looking to necessarily offboard any employees. We just want them to, we just want our revenue
We want them
cycle
to
to
be
be
doing
more,
more productive things,
Yes.
like working on our patient experience,
yeah,
like making sure the charts are closed out.
Yes.
Like all the little things that add up to big things, right?
yeah.
Why don't you talk a minute about some of the things we're doing outside of the direct revenue cycle impacts related to like Medicaid, related to Medicare?
Yeah, so a couple things. One, we have some solutions that that we've already deployed, but we're looking at scaling, I would say, from a retrocade discovery. And that one's really cool because we can identify if a patient came in as self-pay and then later on had enrolled in Medicaid later. That helps systems, I would say, almost get net new revenue because it's a very low likelihood they're going to collect from that patient who went into the hospital as self-pay. They're already, kind of on Medicaid for a reason, are going to enroll in it. So getting that patient to pay thousands of dollars is really unlikely. And the really cool thing about it is not just identifying if they're eligible, but ensuring that that claim is eligible to be retroactively billed per that state specific guidelines. And then actually, after some validation, automating that cycle. Others might be able to, and I actually haven't seen anybody do this, but they might be able to identify it, but I know no one's going to be able to automate the rebilling of that claim correctly. It's very complex from that standpoint. And then on the other side, to help not just rural hospitals, but anybody, we because of the Price Transparency Act that came out a few years ago, we're able to leverage that data to give hospitals and or single providers data on where their other systems or competitors, whatever you want to call them, in the area with specific payers and their contracts on, where can you negotiate to get more uplift, which is something really interesting. Might require some more.
You're speaking to the commercial payers.
Yes, commercial payers. But the reason I bring it up is, we can't no one's going to renegotiate with Medicare, right? That's already set. But if you're having struggle with that, you can turn your focus to commercial payers and potentially get literally millions of dollars of new revenue just by renegotiating, which is you don't have to change any staff. You don't have to change any processes. It's just a simple, I say simple, but negotiation with the payer.
Right. And we can help with that. We can give them the ammunition for their negotiations, and we can also help them during the negotiation.
Yeah. Or fully do it if that's something they want us to do.
Well, and that's something that spans not just the more regional hospitals, but the larger health systems and private practices across the board. So everybody benefits from the knowledge of their more regional or localized fee schedules.
Yeah, absolutely. Can also help if you're like an expanding company, right? It can help you pre-identify without having to ask your entity that you're going to go acquire. You don't even have to ask them for what are your contracts today. Once you know some of their information, you can go and obtain that data, help you with, acquiring other systems or clinics or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about in the referral process, tying some of the pieces together so that the referrals tend to work a little more streamlined.
Yeah.
We're doing some fun stuff there, right?
Well, not only, so it's actually really interesting. We did this with an ophthalmology group out of Texas, where we're going into one of their referral platforms that is disparate from their EMR, and we're aggregating that data and integrating it not only into their system, but also reaching out to the patient to schedule that appointment. They're being automatically scheduled. It's kind of fascinating. And then from there,
the benefit of that is we know they have the referral before the appointment's made.
Yes. And not only that, but their staff isn't having to spend time scheduling patients, right? Because it's automatically happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also taking us into some other interesting places where the referral information is also helping us feed into the EHR, which is also feeding us into some of the reporting, right?
Yes, going into thank you for saying that, because I didn't know how to go into that conversation, but it's allowing us to aggregate data for the patients to identify the highest specificity of a diagnosis code to report back to Medicaid Advantage plans for the way they get, reimbursed is
Right.
based on how are you effectively managing this essentially population that we're giving you.
So with the help of some really qualified physicians that know that piece of the world inside and out, they're helping us really build another little sub platform just
Yep.
in that area of Medicaid reporting.
Yep. And it's going to help with more accurate reporting, which will then go into better reimbursement, and it removes the administrative burden of somebody having to go collect this data in the first place. There are 3 huge value props. Pick any one of them, I think justifies trying to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be evolving pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we've definitely got the foundational pieces now, but as that reporting begins to happen and we really see the value that they see immediately out of that improved reporting, we'll be interested to see how the value proposition pans out for that,
Agreed.
for sure. Talk about the tech stack. What do we do? What's the magic behind the curtain on our tech stack?
So I'll share what I can, because I don't think I can share everything, but
You'd have to kill me.
yeah, probably, and anybody else listening. What's fascinating about our tech stack is, we transformed and built, everything in house from our RPA platform, which allows us to be a lot more nimble and complex than using something out of the box like Automation Anywhere, UiPath, or Blue Prism, or I'm sure there's more tools out there now. Coupling that with our data engineering, our data analytics, predictive analytics, machine learning, and then leveraging different types of AI when the use case deems it, merging that all into an orchestration layer, or having an orchestration layer really do that work of determining, what makes sense to do in a certain situation. Apart from our RPA platform, leveraging that is our next leg up, I would say. And then being able to ingest different types of files or messages, whether it be HL7, EDI, APIs, flat files, furthers us. And then moving into unstructured data, right? Leveraging and fine tuning some of our models to understand clinical context, and being able to take that from words into actions that are, for lack of better words, our machines can then use, whether that be an actual RPA or just like simply moving data from one place to another, processing it and sending it always back into that client's EMR. I kind of went off of the tangent of the tech stack, but I think that somewhat answers the question.
Yeah. Well, I think the reality is we'll never be done, right? We'll never have, our platform will never be done. It's going to change continuously as the capabilities change around the industry, and the solution providers around the industry change. We're going to need to evolve with them. So, that's a reality. And back to our points around flexibility, our ability to weave together, because we've got not a platform, we have a number of elements to our platform that can be used as a kind of like a recipe. We've got lots of ingredients, but every client has a new recipe that we need to culminate and build off of what we have in our toolbox.
Yeah. And what people don't, I think, realize all the time is when you look at putting our automation on a specific process, like siloed in itself, if you were to do that, you're going to be missing context, whether it be eligibility data or registration data, or, I think specifically when people try and deploy automation on denials, most of the time, if they're just taking that data and trying to make an argument based on that point in time, they're missing the downstream things that happen. How was it coded? Why was it coded that way? Was it actually denied for eligibility, or what? Did we just register the patient or build a wrong plan? It's kind of fascinating when you look at it from from that brain trust standpoint.
So we're actually able to automate, add more and more automation, but also puts ourselves in the position to take action
Yes.
on our learnings. So it's
Yes.
not a matter of just learning, continual learning. It's putting all of that learning into practice.
Yep. That and, well, back to your point, taking action. It doesn't help to not only take action, but putting it back into their system, right? Their EHR, their billing system. So they're not having another website to open up to find out what happened with that claim. I can only imagine how frustrating that is for some of them.
Yes, I can imagine too.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered Jorie pretty
Yeah,
well.
we talked about everything.
Yeah. I like to talk about our clients more. That's a lot more fun to learn about them than learn
Yeah.
about us. But hopefully we bring something of some amount of interest to them that'll maybe cause some more questions to be asked. We'd love to show a demo or demos. We'd love to walk you through a day in the life of a Jorie client, and we'd love to have the opportunity to explore opportunities across all the different lines of business, specialties, sizes of business. We don't think there's any limit to the possibilities if you just give us opportunity to chat it up and look under the hood a little bit of what you do, what your organization does, and how you do it.
I agree. We can always improve their processes and ours, but
Yeah.
yeah, couldn't agree more. Thank you.